Okay, so this water line here, you'll be able to see, and I turned off my phone accidentally, so I'm gonna have to edit this, but there are two 5/8 that go in here for this water line. There's one that goes on top, one that goes on the bottom for these two, and those are these bolts that I have out here that go in. I'm gonna try to put a video, lengthen up the video a little bit when I'm installing it so you see what I'm doing. But you take those two out, these go here on the side, you take those two out with a 5/8, and the way that I did is I had my 5/8 wrench, or ratchet, not a wrench but a ratchet, and so I came on this side, and then of course I climbed on something to make it a little higher since I have my car on ramps, and I went ahead and went in here. And when it was in, I just pulled from this end and I pulled it this way, pulled this way, and then I went in the bottom and I pulled again. So that's how you take those two out. And then when you're done with those, you have to come to the bottom, and I'll come and show you at the bottom. You're gonna need your intercooler pipe off, so you can go ahead and do that. Okay, so you'll have your intercooler line goes up here. This part goes here in the intercooler. This one goes hanging inside, so this front part goes in like that. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so this part goes up here, and then this front part goes into the intercooler. So that's a 5/16. These two bolts that are right here are a 13. That's 1 and 2 for the little bracket that goes to the intercooler. Those are 13, and then at the very top, from the base of the turbo outlet, you're gonna have another 5/16 that you loosen up. This one comes out, and I took it out so that it can clear space, so that when I climb in here, you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay, so as I climb in here, you're gonna see the turbo section, and you're gonna see this pipe right here that has two little bolts, and the bolts are there. That's the little pipe, and I went ahead and removed those. Those ones are also 5/16, and I took those out, and then that should be it. If you find it easier to get to the water outlet bolts from here, you could also do that too, because they go right here on the side of the turbo. So if you can get to them from down here and turn them, then you can always use that as well. For the other bolts that I was talking about for the heat shield, here's one bolt. I took them off from the bottom, so here's one bolt. There was another bolt on this side that I took out on top, which I can access from down here. And then there's also another bolt on this side, which I was able to access right next to the turbo underneath, that I can access from down here, right where I'm touching. So I took those out and then went up there and loosened up. Okay, so I went ahead and accessed that from the bottom. So you can decide where you want it. I just wanted to go ahead and give you the feel for that. So I took a 5/16 with a very long extension, and I just went in there and then just turned it and loosened it up. So that's how you get to that section from the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and climb back out there so we can continue, and then I'll show you. All right, I'm in my creeper down here. Okay, so once I have all of that loosened or loose, then what I did is I took my hammer and just hit right here in the metal, and just went ahead and tapped it out of the way, and it snapped out, and now my turbo is loose and ready to be removed. So I'll bring this whole section up here. All right, there's your turbo. Put it down this way, and as you can see, this one, you know, it's kind of been used, very well used. This one actually was a replacement on a parts car that I had. My original went out, and then I took this one and drove it, but it wasn't on for very long, probably a few months, only a couple months, because it was already used. It came out of another car, and so I figured, I went ahead and bought a brand new cartridge for it, which I will go ahead and be replacing. And this brand new cartridge that I have came from Amazon, and I bought it for I believe $9 for the cartridge. And so $9, balanced at 150,000 RPMs, which I figured if I got a rebuild kit and I rebuild it myself, and then I went ahead and did the balancing somewhere, it was going to cost me almost probably the same or even more than that. So I figured, why not? It came 110 bucks, and then I paid $15 for an extended, like, 2-year warranty. So not only is it comparable to me rebuilding it and balancing it, but it came with a warranty, which you can't do it without. So this is it. So what I'll do is I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video, and I'm gonna go ahead and remove this, because what I do is I don't want to set this too far in there, so I'll put it like that just for now, so I don't put it in the dirt. And then what I'm gonna do is take my spring clips and close these, and then pop this ring. There's a ring right here. Once this ring comes out, this cartridge will slide out, and then this new cartridge can slide in, and then the ring goes back in. I'm gonna need this this thread section so I can mount it onto the new cartridge, and we'll come back and revisit it and then mount everything back in. And again, I have my Mopar plate here, so everything came out with the Mopar plate. If you're thinking of installing a Mopar plate, or or blocking it off for an external blowout valve, and you're noticing your turbo is going out, this is the right time to do it, because once it's already outside, you can easily access the bolts. You can take this off, put your plate on, or your block off plate, and then go ahead and do this when your whole system is out. So you might as well do it. All in all, it took me about an hour and a half to get everything done. No rush. Again, I always recommend grab something to drink, beer, soda, whatever you guys want, and relax. Give yourself ample time. If you know a job is going to take you 4 hours, you always give yourself a whole day. If you know it's going to take you an hour, give yourself 5 hours, so always give yourself extra time. I'm going to go ahead and get this done. I'll come back.